Hey guys, we're back out in Armley today. Glorious day, no rain. Under the Armley train viaduct. I do believe it's a live line up there, so I'm just curious to see, if anything, what we can find at the bottom, you see. There's the river and arches themselves. Tab ends, so it's clearly being used as a commercial premises at one point. Glorious stonework and arches. But apparently these arches were once used as a form of commercial buildings of some sort. A little bit hard to tell what they were at one point. I do believe possibly some sort of car garages under the arches themselves. You can see where it's all been bricked in. They do look like old airlines for a compressor. Claim event. Old mouse and rat traps. You can also see where it's had an overhang of the building, where the felt joined out here with the double door and single door. And the walkway on the ground itself would have come out of the door. Makes me think it's an old garage with an MOT bay, possibly. There would have been the ramps and lift. This should have walked you to the back of the building, where there's also drainage and a tab end bucket, so possibly a smoker's shelter. A view from inside the arch themselves. And along the back wall. Does look like it would have come up at one point and formed part of that smoker's shelter. Let's go into the next arch and have a good look in that one. More rat traps. The second arch, also again used to come out into the arch itself. A lot of wiring left in this one. That could have possibly been an office window at one point, because if you look, you do get an old door frame. And fire extinguisher point 1, fire extinguisher point 2. So also 3-phase. And again, not as big as the other door. Looks like a can of primer and a can of spray. Again, this would have been bricked up and in, so this would have formed one unit in the arch. Would have been a pretty decent size, to be fair. Have a look in this arch itself. Beyond there is where they store salt for winter, for gritting. Can actually see what's left of tyre tracks. And the paint on the floor. And I do believe the 4 anchoring points, which would have been for the hydraulic car lifts. So that would have been arch number 2. And go into arch number 3. Big chunk. More primer. This was probably a body shop. With a 3-phase there, could have run the extractor fans to take out the emissions of the spray cans themselves before they were CFC friendly. This looks like it would have been an hinge for a gated entrance. That one's been oxyacetylene off, but you can see the top one there. Possibly a toilet area, possibly. I'm not too sure. More undercoat. Let's go into arch number 3. This one's a lot bigger. With the doors still boarded up. But if you look on there, overhead crane. That would have been for definitely 3-phase. Cans of expanding foam. Again, the yellow walkways. marked off, so possibly where you can see the marks on the wall, this would have been a toilet, so that's where it had drained down into. But you also could have had it come out to here, so this has definitely been a foundation. And we're back to the end of the walkways. That's arch number 3. You can see where their building would have come out along into the arch. Old CCTV cameras, fire alarm, safety lights. Quite a lot left on the wall there, to be fair with you. And there's a view of inside the arch itself. It's amazing how perfectly straight this floor is compared to the other one. So you can tell whatever they needed to lift with the crane needed to be off a square flat surface. Nuts and bolts and washers, a bit of threaded bar, old rag. More drainage for another toilet. But we are in Bay 4 now. And 3-phase cabling. And anchor points where it would have also come out into the arch itself. And the double doors, which are bricked up, and some type of klaxon to tell your staff off. Many nuts and bolts and washers in this side. So it looks like we went from an MOT bay to a body shop to this one what needs lots of nuts and bolts. This one's got a concrete pad at the back as well. Where the iron girders were, which had held up the back wall. And if you look here, I dare say this was a sliding door. So this door would have slid along there, giving access. Oh, you can hear the train going over there now. So you can tell it's definitely a live line. So that viaduct we won't be filming. More cans, possibly from the body shop down there. full. Oh, hi up. We were just talking about the sliding gate, which possibly went wrong there. What I've just found. A sliding gate. With security along the top. Big old lock. Where the walls would have gone. And again more bracing for the beaming, which would have held the roof up. We would have been inside now. Because if you look along there, that's where the outriggers of the building would have come out into the arch itself. A lot of the toilet drainage looks modern and could be still used. Not a bad little space really, is it? I'd rent one of them if they were still alive and kicking. I think our lass would be happy with that. There won't be as many engines and stuff around the house. Well, that gate possibly could have gone here as well. And there's a view from inside the arch itself. We're next to Armley train station. If you look on my other videos, you'll find what we could see of Armley's train station itself. See, that would have been totally locked out, them 3 units. That could have been the MOT bay, the body shop, and where they do repairs with the car ramps there. Could have been one business, with it being sectioned off a lot. Coming up into the 5th arch now. Doesn't look to have been messed with. The floor's not concreted. Yeah. Very old paint cannon bucket. That's actually metal and not plastic. So that's actually a really old one. Looks to have German writing on it. Off shades of barbed wire. Some bits of glass. Ooh, look at that. That's possibly 3-phase and what come out of that box itself. More nuts and bolts. Weird style plug. Not too sure about that. Possibly the box it came out of. That actually smells of fuel. Looks like they've had a Clicks coffee machine somewhere. I'm not too sure if this would have had a stored backup generator in there, because it smells of diesel and it's about the ideal size, and you can see what's left of where the wiring would have run off it, and the ventilation for the fans and the water cooling of the generator itself. So although it might not have been used as an arch, it might have been used as backup power, because that's in a self-contained little concrete bunker, breeze block. I wouldn't say bunker, it's a shed. And you can just see on the walls of the arch where a roof slanted looked like it came actually to about here. So that's possibly been used, that corner. Or it could have even been the compressor store, where they would have had the three-phase giant compressor to run the spray guns and whatever else necessary. But what I will say is it stinks of diesel right there. So my guess would be backup generator. I always like to investigate the red brick just to see if I can work out where it would have come from. Clearly out of one of these arches. I bet that was the lean-to, which was against that brick wall, against the arch itself. You've just got to love British Railways viaducts though, whether they're in use or not in use. This has got a live line above it, so we can't be going up there. Doesn't look like it from down here though. Now in 6 arch. Got here remains of a fridge compressor, some drainage pipe and an iron girder. I ain't got a clue what this is, but this is really industrial and old. Possibly might have formed a part of the railway. This is probably the first bit what I'm unsure of, or I think it's come from the railway itself. Iron girder and drainage for when it's raining. Ah, look at the old fuel pumps. Wonder if they'd sell them. A red diesel and fuel pumps. Can't be getting any closer to get to the pump when it's in a different yard. Two Mega prickly. Looks to these ones who have been converted. There's actually a giant chunk of wood over there what looks to have been fitted in that stood upright. Couldn't tell you what it was for. Could have been an old type of old crane. But these yard is sectioned off like the second gate we found up there. And that's further down towards the end. And gates what have been shut for many of years, since access were prohibited into the arches. This one's just been used for fly tipping, but it looks. We're gathering an old freezer, an old fridge, and an old shed, possibly. Old drill case and whatnot. But you can see this one's actually been built up in. It's just got that much crap in it. I'm not really going to walk round in there. And drainage of the arch itself. Marble. And you listen now, you can hear the train running overhead. This one is sealed from the back also. So this one's totally built up and in. And there's no access anymore around the back. No access to see. I'll put my phone in. Floodlights cut off. Bit of a waste that one, to be fair with you. I think a huge space in there. It's even dry and got roof. could have been a car park for the next door garage. Either way, the access to there would have been down this. Just seems a waste, all that work what's gone into that. And another old alarms. It smells like an old garage too. Cobwebs. I would still rent that because you can access it from here. Wood-based paint, clearly being bricked up to stop anyone going any further. Just seems a lot of wasted space.